Hi, what we're going to do today is just another basic Photoshop skill just to get you used to the software, and I think it's a really handy one. It's importing a traditional sketch so that you can colour it up in Photoshop. So if you've done a sketch on a drawing board and you want to, you've done it as a pen and ink and you want to do colour work or post-production work in Photoshop, this is the way we can go about it. The first thing you do is you open Photoshop, of course, go to File, then Import, and then in this particular case, WIA Support. That's the link to my scanner. And it may be different in slightly different. It may be slightly different on other computers, but in this particular case, I can only speak to the way that I handle it. It links into the various scanners that I've got on this computer. In this case, I've got the MP780. I do have an A3 scanner, but I don't have it connected at this time. And there we go. Now we'll just set it to custom settings. So just so you can see custom settings. This one's set for my normal scanning for pen and inks. So I have it set at 300 dpi, and you need to remember that 200 dpi is basically the lowest setting that you can get for good quality colour reproduction. So to allow myself a certain degree of latitude to adjust the image later, I tend to scan my pen and ink sketches at 300 dpi. And in this case I'm scanning it as a grayscale picture rather than a black and white. Okay, so you can see there. Do a quick preview. You can see it scan across. Adjust the cursors a little bit just so we make sure we've grabbed everything. Normally my pen and inks are done 500mm by 250mm. That's purely because I like the 2:1 format. I get a little bit stale on the A formats. It just gives us a wider, more landscape sort of feel for architectural images. Okay, there's its scan. Now, image rotate, counterclockwise. We've got it set the right way there, and you can see the base image is scanned. Now we've got a couple of problems with it, but we'll come back to that in due course. Now I'm just going to drag that one down the bottom there so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, now we're going to scan again. Oops, there we go. Just go. Okay, File, Import, WIA Support, Start. There's the scanner. Grab it. Oh, hold on. Before I preview, I just have to move the image. Now, if you've only got an A4 scanner and you're doing your pictures on A2 paper, of course, you've got to find a way to stitch the images together. So in this particular case, there's the second side of the image. Now we'll do this relatively quickly today. Then we scan it. Again, it's on custom settings, 300 dpi grayscale. Image rotation, counterclockwise, and now we've got two pictures to work with. Okay, let's go to the first picture and we're going to change its mode to RGB. We'll come back to that later. It just allows us to mode RGB. It allows us to make multiple layers. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, now you'll notice here, in order for me to make a multiple layer, I put my cursor over the layer and I drag it down onto the bottom line. You see that second cursor there, the one that looks like two little pieces of paper? Multiply, and then you'll see I've got a multiple image there. Okay, that's just to illustrate how we deal with that in layers. What we're going to do is go to the other image. We're going to scroll it out a bit, so I just zoom down my image. And then I use this tool, the crop tool. You see it looks like two set squares set against each other. and then I drag it out to the side there, click on it, and you'll see we've got a larger image now. We duplicate that layer the same way. We drag the layer down onto that little double piece of paper thing, and it makes a duplicate. Okay, and what we're going to do is crop the edge of that. If you hear banging upstairs, that's my little ones. Press the delete. I use the marquee tool and press delete, and there you go. Now we've got one half side of the image. Okay, so you can sort of see it there. We go back to the other image, and I use the marquee tool. Hopefully there'll be enough space on there. Let me just check. Let's just check if that boat's there. Oh, we're not going to make it. That's okay. We can deal with that in due course as well. Edit, copy, open the other file, edit, paste. Now we've got one layer on top of the other, you'll see. So I move that down, and we'll just check. I think we're not going to have enough space. It is just there, but it's not quite there. So what we'll do, we might get away with it on this occasion. Normally I'd take a third scan, but what we'll do is we'll do it this way. It'll be pretty close. Let's just see where it is. Okay, that's pretty good. So now I use the cursor key just to nudge it down a bit. Next, you'll see I selected both layers. I right click and then I link those layers. And now if I scroll out, you'll see I've got all of the image there. I'll just use the crop tool again just to make it slightly longer. So you can see it's all there. See, the image is all there. Okay, so the next step. I just need to adjust the colour a little bit so we get a better transition on this. So I go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast, and then I just increase the brightness just a little bit. Oh, wrong one, cancel. Let's just check where we are. That's the right one. Okay, Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast. There we go, increase the brightness just a bit so it's just, we lose that little bit of ghosting there. Okay, increase the contrast a bit. That's looking good. Okay, then I'll do that to the top layer just a little bit, just to get a smoother transition between the two. Increase the brightness on the edge and see how there's a certain degree of merging there now. We can see it reasonably well. Okay. Now, we've got a wholly connected image there at that point. So I'll just use the crop tool again just to crop it down a little bit. Back to a reasonable level. Now, this is the tricky bit. We've got a complete image now which we've scanned in parts and that's linked together so I can move it about. What we need to do is then merge the image. So we grab the two layers again, you just put your shift key down and click on the other layer beneath it, then right click, and then you'll see down the bottom, merge layers. And now, see, we've got a complete image. Okay, and that's not too bad. Now, that's the way to import the image into your Photoshop, but how do you make it manipulable? Because if we make a layer on top of it, you'll see that if I just select a colour, select that colour, and paint over the top of it, just make it a meaty size, you'll see that it totally obscures the keyline, the picture underneath. So that's pretty well useless to us, because we want to be able to see what we're painting over. So what we do is we make a duplicate, and we're going to click on it, and we're going to call it Keyline. Okay, that's normally what we call these things, or normally what I call these things. Okay, I'll give it a folder, Keyline, and then I'll drop that inside there. Okay, now what we need to do with a keyline select all, edit, fill, background. I just made a background canvas. What we're trying to do with the keyline is we're trying to keep all of the black elements, but still, so we can keep them at the front of the picture, but still be able to paint behind them so we can see the elements of the picture. So the way we're going to do that is we go deselect, then we go select, color range, and you'll see the fuzziness is the amount of extra color that it'll pick up. So we're going to set it at around 120, around 125. And then we're going to take this eyedrop tool and just click it on any of the part of the white surface. Then we click OK, and you'll see that it selects everything white in the picture for the most part. Okay, so then we go Edit, Clear. If we turn this off now, you'll see we've got deselect, the key line at the top, just the black line work has been kept. Okay, and you'll find that that's really handy. I'll turn that background plate on again so it looks like we're on a background. And now if I adjust the key line by going this way, now at the moment it's fairly indistinct, but in order to get this looking better, we just simply go Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. There's the toolbar for that. And if I slide my lightness and darkness down, you'll see all of a sudden I've got a really crisp, sharp image that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we've got an image at the top of the layers file that we can paint on. So if I was to paint on this, again using say this colour, oops, sorry, move down slightly, we'll just make a layer. Okay, so we're making a painting layer. You'll see all of the line work stays nice and consistent. So we can do a traditional pen and ink type rendering where the black line work stays crisp and clear at the front, which is something desirable. So this particular image I've been working on previously, so if I just zoom that up, just move that up into here. There we go. Okay, so it's on the interface. Now, we've just got the key line switched on, but you can see if we're using just the approach that we would normally with a traditional rendering, we can then start to render it in the same way we would a watercolor or a marker rendering. So you can sort of see if I just switch that on, I've just painted in these elements. And there you go. Nice and easy. This is how you can take a base sketch that you've done on the drawing board, scan it into your computer, and then render over the top, which with details we can cover in a future lesson, to get a nice quality finished image. Okay, so the key point today was just scanning a sketch using a scanner, taking it and importing it into Photoshop and creating a keyline. Okay, hope that helps. Bye.